make a terrible mess of it if I...
Yeah, that's no problem. I've popped it to record now. So whenever you're ready, Lauren.
Cool. Yeah, I'll kick us off. So shmai pawb, croeso to the Apprentices' first ever show and tell. They'll be running us through their previous content design placement and covering off some aspects of college and their wider work with CDPS. So yeah, just as a heads up for people who might have just joined, we are recording this session to kind of help promote the scheme a bit more externally. But if you have any questions, there should be plenty of time at the end, but please feel free to post any in the chat throughout and we'll make sure to cover them off. So yeah, without further ado, I'll pass you across to Sarah.
Hi everyone, Shmai. Thank you for coming to watch us today. So since starting our apprenticeship in CDPS, our time has been split between learning about CDPS ways of working, our content design placement and our college course. But Ruth will discuss a little bit more about what our college course entails a little later. Next slide, please. Thank you. So initially, we began familiarising ourselves with the way CDPS works. So we looked at some of the new tools and applications such as Trello, Miro and Notion, which prompted us to create separate boards for practice. So we had a safe group environment and it allowed us to experiment without the fear of accidentally impacting on someone else's work. We created a starter board on Miro, compiling valuable tips and information aimed to assist new starters. Content included insights on finding SharePoint, Miro shortcuts, pay details and directions to Spark. So to continue our upskilling journey, we've been using Notion to maintain some apprenticeship diaries. We're documenting our monthly activities, reflections and experiences. These diaries will serve as a valuable tool to reflect and track our progress through our apprenticeship. We've also completed both Digital and Agile Fundamentals and Agile Fundamentals for Teams to gain a foundational understanding of how the teams operate in CDPS and to begin to learn some Agile methodologies. This knowledge and insight into the courses played a crucial role in our content design placement activity. The All Hands was a great opportunity to meet people face to face, to complete some icebreaker activities, which weren't as bad as we thought they might be, and to hear about some CDPS's priorities for the coming year. So to continue to familiarise ourselves with CDPS's way of working, we've set up a Trello board and we organise our placement tasks and college work. And alongside this, we have a stand-up with Lauren twice a week to discuss progress towards tasks, upcoming training. We have our own Slack channel to help with communication and resource sharing. And we also run our own apprentice stand-up for the three of us, where we sometimes discuss what we're working on or we use it to collaboratively work on tasks. And then finally, over the last 2 months, we've engaged in deep dive meetings with service owners and CEOs. And this has allowed us to gain insight into their respective services, ongoing projects, and it gave us a comprehensive overview of CDPS. Next slide, thank you. So our content design placement. So early on in our placement, we shadowed the content design team members during their stand-ups, planning sessions, and the communities of practice. We were invited along to an ideation session for the service manual. We found the in-person session really interesting to see how the different roles came together in a collaborative manner to brainstorm ideas. So our first hands-on piece of content design was editing a blog post Lauren had written on the challenges of recruiting apprentices. Initially, we were quite hesitant to go through somebody else's work, but after receiving some practical pointers and becoming more confident in knowing what content design meant, we got to work and the blog post is now live on the website. Next, we were set the task of completing a questionnaire from the Welsh Language Commissioner's Office on trio writing. So using copies of the trio writing book and alongside blog posts, we used those to inform our responses. It gave us a solid solid knowledge into the process, and this will help us in the future with our unit on the importance of bilingualism. For our content design module, the skills team asked us to help them with regards to the upcoming changes to course delivery. They were unsure how to communicate these changes and how to make the changes to the course content on the website. So some user research had been completed and was shared with us, and we began to try and understand the user groups and the user needs. From this, we tried to write some user stories, and it was decided we should split the problem into two. So firstly, we were going to update the course content online, and secondly, a blog post was going to be written to explain the challenges of delivering courses currently. As this was part of our college module, we created separate content and then we shared them with the skills team for feedback. We then used the feedback and the user needs to collaborate and inform our prototype. And we decided to explore Figma for prototyping as it aligned with our college course. It enabled us to gain some confidence in using a new tool, but it's definitely a tool that we will need to continue to develop skills in using. For the blog post on course changes, we actively contributed to writing prompts and organising the information, showcasing our improved confidence and skills in content design. And then the final part of our college unit involved uploading changed course content to the CMS. So Elise provided some guidance, and then we documented the process with screenshots and witness statements for our content design college module. We were all quite nervous about hitting publish and making changes to the website. I'm now going to pass on to Ruth, who's going to discuss some more about how our college placement works.
Diolch, Sarah. So shwmai, I'm going to be talking a bit more about college and how it ties in with the apprenticeship. So the apprenticeship is in partnership with Gower College, and we have a list of 13 mandatory units that we need to complete throughout the duration of the apprenticeship, which will bring us to a total of 74 credits. So through guidance from James, our college tutor, we were advised to complete the mandatory units in ethical principles in UCD and the UCD landscape first, due to them being viewed as high priority units. And we have actually completed both units and have passed. Next slide, please. So once these two initial units were handed in, Lauren liaised with James and created a timetable for us on Excel spreadsheet to help align the rest of our college units with what we were learning about within our workplace at CDPS. And as we started on the content design placement first, it was agreed that it would be appropriate for our third unit to then focus on content design activities and methods. So the third mandatory unit on content design activities and methods mainly focused on presenting evidence of our participation within a specific project, allowing us the opportunity to develop skills and knowledge as content designers. So as Sarah mentioned earlier, after presenting our individual prototypes and ideas on the reformatting and delivery of courses to James and Ebony, we received feedback on areas to improve. And then collaboratively, we merged our designs to create one final prototype, which incorporated the feedback comments until it was then finally reviewed by Oshan. We then had the opportunity to upload the content we had worked on onto the CDPS website with support from Elise, whilst gathering evidence for our content design unit by taking screenshots throughout the process. So from December of this year to March 2025, after we've completed all placements within user-centered design, we will then choose our preferred area to work in at the same time as choosing from a list of 13 optional units to get us to a minimum of 10 credits. So combined with the mandatory units, this would bring us to a total of 84 credits. So how we learn. So the learning we do within college is mainly self-led and involves us doing a lot of our own research and learning from our work placements. We have a set day within our week dedicated to college work, which we've recently changed from a Wednesday to a Friday, as we found Fridays just to be a bit quieter, and therefore granted us the opportunity to focus on our units and our studying time. We occasionally have meetings with our college tutor on a Friday, which allows us the chance to ask him any questions we may have about the unit. And James has made it clear to us that his virtual door is always open and we can contact him whenever we need understanding or clarification. James has also started to present PowerPoint presentations on the topics related to our units to give us more insight. And he's also started to implement practical activities within our sessions. So for example, if you can see on that slide, when we were working on our content design unit, he walked us through a tutorial on wireframe and showed us how to create basic prototypes. So other things that might be worth mentioning is back in September, we were given West assessments by Gower College, which stands for Wales Essential Skills Toolkit. And these were assessments to be completed in application of number, English communication and digital literacy. And based on the outcome of our test results, we were then given worksheets to view or fill out. And these are to be continued and to be completed alongside our units, and they're ongoing. And they're basically designed to help us improve our skills and knowledge in these subject areas. So we did have to overcome some initial hurdles when we started college. Understanding the completion of college units within the apprenticeship was interesting for us to get our heads around at first, because initially there were no set deadlines for the units to be completed by, and it was made clear to us that we could be relatively flexible with when to complete them, as long as they were all handed in by the end of the apprenticeship. So this was a new way of learning and working for us, as none of us were familiar with working in such an independent way without having set deadlines to work towards. As this qualification is brand new, it meant that we were all initially learning from each other from our college tutor. And at the beginning, we were all trying to find our feet and our pace with navigating the college aspect and trying to understand how to correctly approach it. So where we are now, we fully understand and accept that there would be a lack of clarity on some things, as this is a new scheme, not only for us, but for CDPS and Gower College. And therefore we're all learning. So we've now established a good system to help us in both our learning and working environment. After having a meeting with James and Lauren to help us have a goal to work towards, we have now set up rough deadlines for our units, with the flexibility of extending them if we need to, as long as we're clearly communicating this with James. Lauren's timetable that aligns college units with work placements and their dates have been proven to be really helpful and gives us a visual understanding of the structure and the time frame of the apprenticeship. With the new learning material and practical activities that James has started to provide for us, we feel we have a healthy balance of taught lessons, practical activities, self-led research and on-the-job learning, as well as general support from both James and CDPS. So I'll now hand it over to Alex, who's going to be talking about what's happening next in the apprenticeship and some further information.
Thank you, Ruth. So hello all. I'll now be giving you an overview of what's coming up next for us apprentices. So now that we have about 3 to 4 months of experience under our belts and we've had a chance to familiarise ourselves with agile working, we feel ready and equipped to hit the ground running with our next set of projects. So in the upcoming 3 months, we'll be working within the user research team, and our journey with the team started a couple of weeks ago with an insightful introduction from Andrew and Gabby. So they provided us with some high-level overview of user research, and we've also had some practice of carrying out some user research for a hypothetical scenario, which was a lot of fun. And we'll continue to learn from the user research team as a whole. We will also be engaging in some personalised one-to-one shadowing with one member each of the user research team. So this will allow us to learn through observation and provide us with dedicated mentorship to ensure that we are building a strong foundation in the basics of user research and understand what the working week looks like for a user researcher. So eventually we'll then go on to assist with our mentors' ongoing work and hopefully contributing to the completion of some more manageable tasks. And additionally, towards the end of our 3-month placement, we apprentices will once again join forces on a small internal user research task. And this collaborative effort will enable us to apply the skills that we've acquired in a low-risk setting. And this will ideally be addressing an internal challenge which we aim to identify over the next few months. So whilst we are completing our shadowing experience and assisting on some practical work, we'll also be working on college assessments with a focus on accessibility and inclusivity. So we will be covering topics such as improving readability, user research methods, and the impact of neurodiversity and visual impairment on digital accessibility. And these assessments will ensure that the fundamental skills we are building align with the industry benchmarks as we progress through our placements. So we'll also be taking part in a range of external training from lots of different providers, and this includes digital accessibility training, a managing and influencing stakeholders course, an introduction to service design training course, and these courses, along with some digital literacy training from Gower College, will equip us with the general skills necessary for a successful career in user-centred design. So we are currently working towards a level 3 apprenticeship qualification, which spans approximately 18 months, of which we've completed around 4. So looking ahead, following our user research placement, we'll transition to an interaction design placement for 3 months, followed by another 3-month placement in service design. And when we complete the planned placements, we'll then have the flexibility to choose our preferred area of user-centred design or continue cycling through shorter placements for the final 6 months. And that will bring us to the end of our level 3 qualification. And once we've completed level 3, we'll then have the option to continue studying up to degree level, or we can choose to move into our user-centred design career at that point. So our overall goal is to emerge from this apprenticeship as well-rounded user-centred design professionals, armed with the skills and knowledge to readily integrate into established user-centred design teams, or to make a positive impact on the broader user-centred design community. So thank you for your attention so far. We would now like to give you some personal reflections on our experiences as apprentices so far, and we'll start with Sarah.
Thanks, Alex. It's really surprising how quickly 3 months has passed. I think initially there were so many new things to learn, new ways of working, new colleagues, lots of new terms and phrases. So it felt as though we were learning a lot of different skills, as well as being on our first placement. I really enjoyed all of the content design activities that we were given. And I felt as though I was just kind of getting into it when the placement came to an end. So it's definitely an area that I would like to revisit. I felt that observing how others worked and tackled problems was really helpful in developing my skills and knowledge. As we transitioned into user research, I feel more confident and at ease with the established ways of working, and many of the terms and practices are not as unfamiliar. I'm really looking forward to user research placement, as I feel this might be the area that I'd like to specialise in, although we are early days into the apprenticeship, so my thoughts could change. College has been a little different to what I was initially expecting. It's a lot more self-led, but I am really enjoying the challenge of independent learning and reading around subjects. I'm really pleased that I can continue to develop my learning and understanding around accessibility with CDPS, as this is something that I'm passionate about, having carried it over from my previous role as an additional needs teacher. It was one of the main factors in my application for the role, that I could help to make services more accessible. I'm keen to learn how to do this and then put my skills into practice. I'm grateful for all of the additional opportunities CDPS has given us, such as stakeholder training and an introduction to service design. I feel it will help us to become well-rounded UCD practitioners. I'm really looking forward to seeing what other experiences the apprenticeship gives me. Thanks. Ruth, over to you.
Thank you. So before this, I worked as a one-to-one learning support assistant with 2 children who had additional learning needs. So I applied for this role as a user-centred design apprentice because I felt that my previous role had given me an insight into the importance of accessibility and inclusivity, and how it can really make a difference in a person's life when effective measures are put into place. So I felt that the skills and understanding I had would be valuable in this new position. In terms of placement so far, I feel that content design is possibly where my strengths lie the most. However, of course, it's still early days to come to that conclusion just yet. I really enjoyed the creative problem-solving aspect that content design brought, and trying to brainstorm ideas to get the content to be the best version it could be. Having the experience of seeing content that we've been involved in uploaded to the CDPS website, whether it was the course pages layout we had helped to restructure or a blog post that we had helped edit, it felt really exciting and rewarding to see it. I feel really grateful that we get to have the experience of working within all the departments of UCD, and it's great that we're learning so many valuable skills. I also attended a part-time course during my previous job in professional digital marketing, and learning on that course has given me a little bit of knowledge in topics such as user behaviour and customer journey, but it also sparked my interest in creating digital content. So I'm really pleased to have also been given the opportunity to start showcasing my experience at CDPS in the form of digital videos, with the support of Alao and Gemma. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to create and contribute to the organisation's open way of sharing and learning. Overall, we've had great support from everyone in the organisation, especially mentor figures such as Pete, Poppy, Lauren, Oshan, and now, of course, Gabby, Andrew, and our user research buddies. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you. So I've had such a fantastic experience so far learning through doing, and I've noticed that the learning style involved in an apprenticeship is very different to academic learning, because we're able to learn how to apply our knowledge as and when we obtain it, whereas with academic learning, sometimes there can be a bit of a disconnect between if you're relying too much on learning the theory alone. And a highlight for me personally is having the opportunity to take part in training which builds my wider skills, such as taking part in Welsh lessons and in the near future British Sign Language as well. And having the time and permission to do this is really valuable to me. And overall, I'm quite confident that we'll be able to achieve the goals set out for us by those who have created the apprenticeship scheme. And I'm hopeful that we'll become valuable assets to a youth-centred design team in the future. And I'll now hand back to Lauren to conclude.
Diolch yn fawr. Yeah, thank you all. I think that's like the second time I've heard that, and I still enjoyed it. So yeah, I hope all of you did as well. Just to say, I think you've all done incredibly well so far, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that you've really kind of integrated into CDPS, and I'm just really looking forward to kind of see where this career change kind of takes you all. Moving on to any questions. I've been keeping half an eye on the chat. I think it was mainly just chat around not wanting to get up early, so I couldn't see any questions for the apprentices. So I'll give it a minute if anyone wants to shout out or raise their hand if they have any questions. Oh, Jana, do you want to go?
Just wanted to say that was a great show and tell, and I had loads of questions in my head for you, but you answered them all with your reflections. But yeah, I suppose I've got a question. Like, this is a new thing for Wales, isn't it? It's a new court. Like, you are the guinea pigs for this, is from what I understand. And there's obviously lots of learnings that CDPS can take and the college can take. Is there anything that you're thinking already? It's probably very early days, but is there anything that you think's missing, or that would be more helpful to do either in college or for CDPS to do to help with your learning? It sounds like you're learning loads, and like I've firsthand seen how involved you get, especially with the user research stuff that we were doing. So yeah, that'd be great to know if there's anything more that we could do to support you, or more that the college course could do.
I'd like to say something about that. I don't feel that there's anything that sticks out to me that is really missing, because the learning feels like so natural when you're shadowing and you're watching what's going on. You're just like absorbing everything like a sponge. So yeah, the learning just feels really natural, and the college helps support you in making sure that you're reaching the skills, like the benchmarks that you really need to be successful. So the combination is just, it works really well. And I think the only thing is that we're learning to like refine how we balance the college and the placement activities and making sure that they line up as we're moving through.
Yeah, and I don't think there's personally anything that the organisation could add. In terms of college, I think we did have a retro recently where we had a practical lesson with James, like I mentioned before, doing prototyping. And I think we all really enjoyed that. So we just kind of fed back to him and said we'd really like to have more of those practical lessons implemented. So I think going forward, we'll have more of those. But no, nothing more, I don't think.
Just to add, I think if for other people that are doing the apprenticeship going forward, I think just to have the flexibility of being able to organise the units around your placements so that they kind of align is just really beneficial. That we're on user research and we've got our user research module at the same time. Yeah, that's all I would add.
No, that's great. I answered. I'm glad you're enjoying it and seems to be working really well. Yeah, well done.
Thank you. I think Jack's got his hand up as well.
Yeah, it might be a longer term question, but I'm kind of conscious of whether or not we're doing anything as CDPS. That are we missing any opportunities as an organisation to learn from you? Because you're going to college, you're learning from kind of like a formal training course. You're getting it straight from a dedicated course, and a lot of us, myself included, have learnt on the job with user-centered design. We've got the experience, but you're getting it kind of from a not more professional, but more of an academic background. And do you see us as an organisation matching with everything that you see? Do you see gaps between how you would do things by the book more? Like, is there a method for you getting that across to Lauren and the rest of us here to learn from you? Sorry.
That's a hard question. I think because it is an apprenticeship and obviously we're based in CDPS, we're kind of like learning from and with you. But I think because we've got specific units in areas, I think that can kind of be fed back within the area that we're in. So user research now, it's talking about different kind of research methods and standards. So obviously we are kind of like speaking to our user research mentors and kind of like learning from them. So I'm hoping that's kind of how we can kind of like feed back in, is kind of just by asking questions. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's more to add to that.
Definitely. I think as we continue to develop courses within the skills team as well, I think getting your insight and your input into the modules that you'd covered in your courses would be really helpful. So yeah, that's something we can bring forward. Pete, you also had your hand up.
Yeah, please, thank you. Fab Chantel, lovely to see the detail and displayed so brilliantly and described and explained, and your personal insights as well. I was waiting all the way through for that, so that's really interesting. Thank you. It's a bit of a cheeky question, really. It's about the future. What do you think's next? For you, I know we are halfway through. Can you see yourself in a career in user-centered design forevermore? What do you think we should do next? Is it more apprentices next year? Is UCD the right apprenticeship, or I don't know. Do you think there's something else we should think about?
I can see myself in UCD forevermore. I'm not sure exactly where yet, so I'm going to hold my tongue until I've gone through all the placements. But yeah, I absolutely think that there should be more apprentices. I think the skills that we are picking up are so important and like could be beneficial to so many different organisations. So yeah, I think the more the better.
I agree. Well, I'm older for starters. I can't keep changing careers too much because I haven't got that long left. But no, I can see me being in user-centered design. It's great that I've been able to kind of take some of my existing skills and bring them over, and I'm just loving learning new skills. I kind of feel like it's breathed a new breath of life into me. And already I can see the importance of the various areas within a user-centered design team kind of working together. And I can also see the frustrations that perhaps some people have with having to kind of work within teams and kind of like champion it as well. So yeah, it's definitely an important set of skills to have.
Yeah, I agree. I think for now I'm just making like baby goals for myself. So at the moment I'm just thinking about just the end of kind of level 3 apprenticeship for now. But it's definitely a career that I'm interested in. And as Sarah mentioned, I feel like I've got skills that I can bring to this role, but we're just learning so many valuable skills that can be applied to so many situations. And it's not just kind of practical skills that we're learning. It's like it's skills in like it's an attitude and a mindset. So I think we're always constantly thinking about like user needs and things like that in our and using this language every day that was so scary to us when we first started and it had no meaning to us. So yeah, they're really valuable skills to have, and I think they should definitely be continued. And I think having more apprentices to do this would be amazing because it's such a good opportunity.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's really encouraging. And it is, you know, the comments in the chat, everybody's enjoying what we've done and thinking you're making a big difference. So yeah, well done, well done, well done. Thank you very much.
We have had a question come through from Philippa. So it's obvious you've all supported each other and have been on an amazing journey together. If we were going to consider repeating, do you suggest that it's strength in numbers?
I'm quite opinionated on this. I really do think so, because me, Ruth and Sarah, like we've learned from each other a lot as well. And like tackling certain tasks together has been like so important, and just being able to like have all the time we've had to like talk things out as we go has just been really invaluable. And I think that if we were individual on our own, I think maybe it would have been a little bit harder. But yeah, we've really supported each other. So I would recommend doing it in groups and allowing us to have lots of time to, allowing the future apprentices to have lots of time to work together would be really beneficial.
Agreed. Yeah, but we kind of all got different skill sets as well. So we kind of learn from each other as well. So it is very useful.
Fab. Oh, Pete again.
Sorry, I've got to keep going on that then. So in terms of size and scale, you know, conversation with Lauren, yourselves, it'd be great to expand this. We've got ideas about expanding across the public sector. We're trying to work out how, but how big a cohort would be good. 3 seems to be a magic number at the moment. You know, it's not too big, not too scary. You're getting on with each other. You know, you're bringing your own experiences and sharing all that, which is great. You know, I know some organisations like Welsh Gov take on 10s to 20. Sometimes they're not this year, which is really frustrating. But how big is good? Is 3 about what we should be thinking about, or what? What's your feeling?
I think 3 is a good, as you said, a good magic number. I also feel like it doesn't kind of overwhelm teams that are taking us on as well. Not that I'm saying we're a burden or anything, but like sometimes it's hard to go about your everyday kind of working day with the thought that you need to kind of incorporate these people who are learning with you. So yeah, I think it's a good amount.
Yeah, having a small group of apprentices has been allowed us to like build like a strong personal relationships and have the confidence to like confide in each other. And yeah, a bigger group would be good as well, but maybe you wouldn't have that. The small team really helps, I think, just with those personal relationships and getting to know each other really well.
Yeah, definitely. We have had a question through from Yana as well. So how might we enhance the inclusivity of the apprenticeship scheme, providing opportunities for individuals who may not traditionally have access to such programmes? This is quite a sticky question. It's quite difficult. We've definitely done a lot of outreach for this apprenticeship scheme. We did some work with Disabilities Wales, but I think that there's more to do as we head into the next sort of recruitment for the next cohort. Things like making the application process more accessible, allowing people to apply through different forms, through video, any way that they see fit. Doing a voiceover for the job advert so people can just click and have it read out to them. Just getting it out to different communities as well, partnering with different organisations. So yeah, that's definitely at the sort of top of the priority list going into the next recruitment drive for that. But if anyone has any suggestions or has seen something work well in the past, please do let us know.
Sorry, I should put it in because I've already asked a question and I was like, oh, I want to see again.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I just wondered because
Valid.
how I word it is that it seems as though our apprentices at the moment have had, sort of academic backgrounds, and quite often applications for these things require you to be very academic, very, there's obviously ways that we can do physically applying through videos and things, but what is our sort of benchmark that we're expecting for the apprenticeships? Do we need to make it different so that it makes it easier for people that don't have academic backgrounds, or may have other, or come from different backgrounds, or may have sort of disabilities that wouldn't be able to apply in that way? Because it's different to applying for a job, isn't it? So
yeah, 100%. I think with this being our first run, we did keep it very open, no age restrictions, no academic qualification restrictions, nothing like that. But maybe that is something we need to revisit, going forward, 100%. Just having a look if there's... Yeah, Pete, thank you. Yeah, so we are working on a shared apprenticeship scheme. So the idea is that as we sort of continue on with new cohorts, we can't just keep kind of absorbing them into CDPS. And that's not really the idea of this apprenticeship scheme. We want to make sure that this skill set is, going out into Wales, working in different public sector organisations or even private sector organisations as well. So we're hoping to partner up with other public sector organisations such as Vale of Glamorgan Council, Neath Port Talbot Council. They're all really interested and keen to get on board. And the idea is that for one of the 3-month placements, one that they feel most kind of confident in as an organisation, that apprentice would then second over to them for those 3 months. With our support, with the connection from us as well, going forward. And then they would come back to us and then go to a different organisation. And at the end of the scheme, the partnering organisations would have to either have created a position for that apprentice or offer an interview. So it improves their employability. It also gives them a sort of understanding of working with different organisations, and then it also kind of has this covert way of getting that skill set into that other organisation as well. So that's also sort of in the works coming for the next group, something to look out for. Just reading some of the comments. Yeah, I think that's everything. If there's anything I've missed in the comment section, people want to raise their hand, or anyone want to ask any other questions? Oh, Ed. Oh, you're on mute, Ed. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm going to put Allo on the spot and bring her in here because something's been flagged in the comms channel, which I think would be really useful for this cohort. It's about Apprentice Week. Allo, do you want to just give a brief overview?
Yes, dim prob. So diolch Jem, she flagged this to the comms team earlier on today. It's actually National Apprenticeship Week next week. How fitting and exciting. So we obviously want to promote this on our socials and website. So I'll send you all a quick message later on. And we'll try and figure out the best way of going about this. It might be promoting this show and tell externally, putting this show and tell into a blog post, promoting our older blog posts on our website, or you might have some nice, fresh, creative ideas. So we'll discuss this later on, but just to flag it, diolch Ed for mentioning that and reminding us all. So yes, exciting. Diolch. Talk to you later on.
Amazing. Thanks, Alo. Maybe a group
TikTok.
apprentice, yeah, like a TikTok dance they can do. They'll love that. Fab. Right, well, I think that's everything. Yeah, you can always catch us on Slack if anything else comes up. But yeah, well done, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for joining.